What's going on, everyone? So yesterday we got more reports that the Los Angeles Lakers don't want to trade anybody. Apparently, no, they said that the reports say from the Athletic that the Lakers don't want to trade Rui Hachimura. We talked about it before. Lakers kind of view him in the long-term plans. Jovan Buha mentioned it, but he said like, "Hey, Lakers." That doesn't mean the Lakers won't trade him. It just means that like they really like him, and if they can keep him, they will. And now we're kind of seeing the same thing being reiterated now by the Athletic that hey, they don't want to trade Rui. They really like Rui, and they want to keep him long term. I really hope that this is just a negotiation tactic, right? I really hope that this is just, you always want to overvalue your players, right? You always want to make it seem like, hey, this guy, we love this guy. No, we ain't going to just trade him. We don't just want him to go, right? You want him, you're going to have to work hard for him. You're going to really have to sell us on the idea. You're going to have to really give us a nice return. If it's something like that, then fine. But the alternative is like, who are you trading? Right? Like D'Angelo Russell, cool. Gabe Vincent has no value, right? So unless you're taking on a bad contract or you're trading with a bad team that just really just wants a first and they don't care about the bad salary, right? They don't want to trade Max Christie and Dalton Connect. Obviously, they're the younger guys. Okay, fine. Like if those two are off the table, perfect, right? I get it. I understand. Even their contracts, right? Like, not saying that they should be untradeable. No one on this roster should be untradeable, right? Like, the closest guys that should be untradeable are LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Dalton Connect, and Max Christie. Those are the only guys, only because Max Christie's really starting to evolve, but he is making $8 million. If the right piece is there that makes sense, fine, do it. But that I can understand. But Rui and D'Lo and Vando and Gabe Vincent and all these other guys, tell them, look, I like Rui a ton. I talked about this in that video where I mentioned the news of Lakers see him in the long-term plans. I would love to see him as our power forward post LeBron James and really see what can he bring to the table. The problem is we don't know how long LeBron is going to stick around. It could be as soon as the end of this season. It could be 2 seasons from now. It could be 10 seasons from now. We all remember that tweet from that guy who was like, man, LeBron's, what was it, 30, 32, something like that. And so luckily this won't last much longer. And now we're in year 40, or we're in year 22, age 40, right? Like, who knows when LeBron's going to quit? He can play till he's 50 if he wants to. Who knows, right? We'll see. But you gotta pick a direction. You gotta pick a lane. It's bad enough they already have Austin Reaves as untouchable, that they won't trade Austin Reaves regardless. And again, it's not that Austin Reaves is a bad player. It's not that I don't like Austin Reaves. Anytime I even remotely say anything negative of Austin Reaves, people are like, you're just a Reaves hater. Like, clearly you haven't been watching this channel long enough, because I was one of those people originally that was just hyping up Reaves like he was the second coming of Michael Jordan. And then after a year and a half, it's like, okay, he clearly is not what we thought he was. Right? There's nothing wrong with admitting. There's nothing wrong with being honest. At some point, you got to come to the realization. At some point, it's like, hey, he's not the guy that we thought he was. Right? That doesn't mean he's a bad player. Doesn't mean that, you trade him for a bag of peanuts. But he shouldn't be untradeable. He shouldn't be untouchable. If the right trade and the right move comes along and it makes you better, or if it's for a better fit or whatever, then he should be on the trade block. It's very simple. Right? It should be based on what are the Lakers' needs and or can you get a guy that just makes more sense. Right? Like if you can get DeJounte Murray, by description, that's not what the Lakers are looking to trade Austin Reaves for. But if you could get DeJounte Murray tomorrow for Austin Reaves, plus whatever, salary filler or whatever, but like if you could basically do that, buy Austin Reaves, appreciate you. You were awesome. I loved it. Time to go. Right? Like, if it was something like that, then sure. But, like, it shouldn't be, okay, well, now it's Austin Reaves. Okay, well, now it's Rui. Right? It's like, okay, well, how far does this extend? Like, half your roster you don't want to trade now. right? Like all your sizable tradable pieces. Like Rui Hachimura is your second most tradable contract. And Rui Hachimura might actually have the most value outside of like in Austin Reaves. Because people aren't trading for D'Angelo Russell for his contract. They're trading for D'Angelo Russell opposite. Rephrase that. Rewind. They are only trading D'Angelo Russell for his contract. Yeah, there might be some teams that, kind of might want to see and test the waters with D'Lo, but they're looking at his $18.5 million contract and going like, hey, that would be great, right? Get off some money, some long-term flexibility. That is what they're looking at, not so much his play or the player that he is. And then same thing with several of these other guys, right? Like they're just looking to get off of long-term money or get assets or whatever. Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura are your most valuable trade chips. Like those are the guys that teams might actually value and be willing to maybe give you something for in exchange rather than you having to just give everything up. Again, I really hope that this is just Rob Pelinka using some sales tactics, using some, negotiation, right? Like, hey, we love him. What are you talking about? We don't want to trade him. Why would we want to trade him? He's part of our long-term goals. He's part of our future, right? He's a big piece of our plans. Like, this is the guy that we want to be our starting power forward of the future. Like, what are you talking about type thing? That's my hope. That it's the oversell. Right? You see it with teams all the time. You see it not just with the Lakers. I mean, every team in the league values. I mean, look at like Jeremy Grant was 2 firsts. Like, stop. Like nobody's giving you. You'd have to you could offer a first in that deal and people still wouldn't give you 2 firsts for Jeremy Grant. Like, it's silly, right? But that's usually how it goes, right? You're playing the game. You're using the media to kind of sell the story that you want to sell. So that way teams go, we really want Rui, and then you can kind of like, hey man, like for example, let's just say the Nets, right? Let's say that they're like, man, we want Rui. It's like, man, we really want to keep Rui. Come on, Dorian Finney-Smith for Rui. Again, I understand salaries don't match anything like that, but just go with my little analogy here, right? It's like, oh no, like we really want, Rui. Come on, Dorian Finney. We like Dorian Finney-Smith, but he's older, right? Like, and you start negotiating that part, and then it's like, okay, like, what would it take for us to get Rui in the deal? All right, tell you what, throw in Day'Ron Sharpe. That way, it's a clean trade. We'll give you, whatever, Maxwell Lewis or something, so you feel like you win. And then boom, let's go. Clean trade, clean swap. Let's go. Let's make it happen, right? Whatever, something like that. And then now you kind of sell them on the prize, and now you got the 2 guys that you wanted, and you didn't have to overpay. You didn't have to do it. That's what I'm hoping this is for. Because again, I don't think teams are lining up to take Gabe Vincent. I don't think teams are lining up to take Jared Vanderbilt. I do think some teams might take a flyer on him, right? Like some of these bad teams, right? Like I could see like Brooklyn or Chicago or, one of these teams that are like, hey, we want to be as bad as possible this year. And we actually have an out with Jared Vanderbilt where we can just tell him like, hey, rehab your injury all off season. And then he can just kind of go away, rehab. And then now we got him next season. And if he's great. Maybe we can look to trade him or we can keep him or whatever. If he isn't great and he's like bad, okay, then fine. Like, we only got like 1 more year after this, right? Like, I could see a team looking at the Jared Vanderbilt situation and going like, okay, like that could make some sense for us. But no team is really like, that doesn't mean a team is going to be willing to value him. It doesn't mean that a team's going to be like, oh man, we'll give you, a first for Jared Vanderbilt or 2. Like we value, Jared Vanderbilt equivalent to a first. Like teams aren't doing that. Right? A team might look at it and go, hey, we'll take on Jared Vanderbilt's salary because of the potential if he ends up, getting back to the guy that he is. And we can just kind of let him take the year off to get everything right. Like, that's kind of how I see this. But, nonetheless, look, Austin Reaves, you want to leave him untouchable, fine. So be it. It is what it is. Again, I don't agree with it. Personally, I think that, again, I don't think that you trade. Nobody on this roster should be traded just to be traded. Right? No trade is better than a bad trade. I say it all the time. Right? But if the right move is there and the right piece is there and the right trade is there, right? Like if the Lakers were to get, a Brandon Ingram or something like that, right? Well, now you have him as your third guy, right? So if you can get another Wayne or, a better upgraded point like DeJounte Murray in the deal too by giving up Austin Reaves, like why wouldn't you do that, right? Like it's things like that. I hope that the Lakers kind of, look to make some moves. I'm hoping it's just negotiation tactics because you can't have essentially your two value trade chips contract, like player wise, and be like, we don't want to trade them. Like, okay, well then who are you trading? How are you upgrading this roster? Like I said, pick a direction. The Lakers need to pick a direction. If you want to rebuild. If you want to, push chips in and try to win, fine, then push chips in and try to win. But you cannot play one side or the other. It can't be this nonsense. It's so frustrating watching the Lakers just kind of essentially be all over the place. All right? It's like, come on, pick a lane, pick a direction. Either way, I'm going to ride with you. I'm a Laker fan, diehard Laker fan. I ain't going anywhere. This channel ain't going anywhere. As stands Laker, they ain't going anywhere. But, like, I need you to pick a direction for the love of everything. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that, no, you got to keep these guys? These guys can't be, these guys have to be on the table. These guys can't be on the table. Kind of mixed in the middle. How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.